when we lose our humanness, we lose access to this information transfer that allows us deep states of intuition, supercognition, super memory, super learning, super immune response, super resilience to change, all of those human experiences. Your DNA is the antenna. It is literally a biological antenna that tunes you to places in the field where information resides. So once we go to the level 2 of transhumanism, beginning to replace neurons, for example, with computer chips. There is an axiom in biology that's simply called use it or lose it. Hello friends, Gregg Braden here. I'm coming to you today from our studio just outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico, in the high desert under the crystal clear blue skies of a chilly November day. I'm going to do something a little different than a Q&A right now. I wanted to just share some thoughts with you about a perception that has been brought to my attention, at least from some people, about who I am and where I'm coming from when it comes to the transhuman movement, when it comes to our relationship to technology. I received an email, and it pointed me in the direction of there's some YouTube videos and some influencers out there who somehow have linked me to the supporting of the transhuman movement. I have no idea how that could even be in the realm of possibility, except that they probably have not taken the time to fully understand, to read to its completion, or to see a video to the completion of what I'm saying, because everything that I have said for the last 40 years of my life has been in support of our humanness. So I want to be really clear. There is a battle. There's a battle playing out on many, many different fronts right now, and you all know it. You're part of the battle. There's a battle for our thoughts. That is being waged in mainstream media. And that's no secret. The powers that be have discovered that rather than impose an agenda upon us, it is more effective to control the narrative and the kinds of information that we receive so that we will make our own decisions and we will choose the choices that support the agenda that they're hoping to accomplish. That's the battle for our thoughts. It's playing out in all the mainstream, all the legacy media. You know that, no secret there. There's a battle for our beliefs. And that battle is playing out in the classroom. It's playing out in the textbooks. So the beliefs of climate change. Is it happening? Is it not? Is it human cause? Is it not? The battle over 5G, the battle over chemtrails, the battle over everything that we're being taught to have a battle over. That battle is playing out as well. There's a battle for our bodies. That's clear. What does it take to get healthy? What does it take to stay healthy? Do we need chemical intervention when we see things happening in the world that we've never seen before? That battle is playing out, and you and I are part of that as well. But I want to be very clear. All of those battles, they're part of an even greater battle. And it is a battle for our very humanness. Our humanness is on the line right now because technology has advanced to the point, and the thinking has now evolved to the point where there are people and organizations that believe and are teaching our young people that the human body, carbon-based life, is flawed by its very existence, that the human body is rife with errors, what they are calling errors, evolutionary errors. Things like our emotion, they see as a flaw because the emotion clouds our logic. They see human intimacy as a flaw because of the emotions involved with intimacy, and certainly there are a lot of emotions involved with human intimacy. It's complicated. They even see biological birth as an artifact that we can transcend because we now have the ability to optimize every conception. We can program the DNA to accomplish whatever kind of life we choose to accomplish, and it doesn't even have to be inside the woman's body any longer. This is where this thinking is headed right now. And policies are being written and the laws are ready to go to our signature, whether it's on a state level or a national level here in the United States, implementing policies that literally steal our humanness from us. And I want to be very, very clear on this. I am advocating for our humanness. I am not supporting this transhuman agenda. However, I am a scientist and I'm objective. And when I have talked about some of this agenda in previous videos, what I've done is to honestly recognize where we are. There are 3 stages of the transhuman movement. One stage is the prosthetic stage, which we have already adopted and embraced. Contact lenses in the eyes, artificial knees, artificial hips. That is a form of transhumanism where we're using technology, synthetic technology, to replace natural biology. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. We I think, probably have better lives. Some of us are able to continue to innovate and create and contribute because we have embraced this level of technology. That is different than replacing the human body with artificial intelligence and computer chips and chemicals in the blood and sensors under the skin that are tied into a grid somewhere. It's very, very different. So level 1 is the prosthetic stage. Level 2 is where we're getting really close to this right now. It is the thinking that the body is weak and flawed and that we should be replacing the physical body with synthetics, robotics, artificial skin, artificial organs and things like that, and powered by the human brain. So human brain, synthetic body, level 2. And there are people out there thinking that this is what we need to do and we need to do it quickly. And then the 3rd level is ultimately where this transhuman movement believes things are headed. And that is the belief that consciousness can be reduced to ones and zeros in digital information and stored on a computer chip, creating immortality. If your consciousness is on a computer chip, that computer chip can last forever and you can download your consciousness into body after body after body. That's the thinking. The there are problems with all of these. Once we go to the level 2 of transhumanism, beginning to replace neurons, for example, with computer chips, there is an axiom in biology that's simply called use it or lose it. And it applies to what we're talking about here. If we don't use our natural biology, our body begins to believe it's not needed and it will stop producing many of the functions and the systems stop working the way they were designed to work because they believe they're no longer needed. A perfect example of this is the discovery of, we used to believe that neurons in the human brain were limited to what we have at birth. I remember when I was in college, this was the leverage that people were using against college excesses of drugs and alcohol. They said every time you drink a beer, you're losing brain cells, and wow, you've only got so many, Now we know that's not true, that we are producing new brain cells until the last breath we take on this earth. Here's the catch. If those brain cells are not engaged in a meaningful way within 2 weeks of when they are created, they will die. Use it or lose it. So when we talk about the computer chips, for example, implanted into the brain, doing the thinking for us, or let's take this to another level. We've got young people, 3, 4, 5 years old, that wake up in the morning, eat their Captain Crunch or whatever it is. They put on a VR virtual reality visor and they sit there for hours in this virtual reality. So what's happening in the virtual reality? They're being inundated with sensory experiences. They're seeing vivid colors and scenes that they would never see in their backyard. They're hearing the sounds and they're seeing situations that aren't going to happen in real life. So now think about this. They are observing those situations. They no longer need their own creative powers, their own imagination that you and I used before all of this technology came into being. We would have our imaginary friends and our imaginary forts that we would build in the backyard, and imaginary camping experiences, camping under a tent in the living room. It's a blanket between two chairs. And it sounds silly, but the point is we were using our imagination, our creativity, engaging these systems. Now the scientific papers, peer-reviewed papers, are showing cognitive decline in young people who are excessively engaged in this technology, in gaming, in the virtual reality technology. They're seeing a thickening of the visual cortex, first of all, from the intense sensory experiences, but they're also seeing a decline in the ability of socialization, of young people to interact with another young person, especially in adverse situations, so they can work through their problems. That's what kids learn to do. We're on the playground, and when not everybody sees eye to eye, but if you are in what's called the silo, if you are isolated in the silo of your own digital world, it's easy just to fire off a text and say whatever you want and never have to engage in the emotions or the feelings of another human. That is affecting an entire generation of young people right now. So use it or lose it. The way that the vision of tech companies, corporations, and organizations are unfolding right now is to replace so much of our natural biology with efficient and logical technology, so we do away with the messiness of human emotions. That's how you lose a species. That is how you lose your humanness. And this is why I say there is a battle for our humanness. Yeah, there's a battle for our thoughts, our beliefs, our bodies. Ultimately, those are all diversions to keep us so that we're not focused on the deep truth of what's really on the line here. And what's on the line, it is our humanness. Now, why would our humanness be so precious and so valuable as to have entire industries working to take this away from us? It all comes down to who we are and our relationship to this world through the DNA in our bodies. The DNA, if you've followed my work, over the last 40 years, the DNA of our bodies literally holds a code beyond the code of life. It literally holds a message that tells us of our origin and who we are. And in the book I released 2004 called The God Code, I translated the first layer of the message in the DNA in every cell of all carbon-based life. And I'd lead you step by step through how that happens. I'll just boil it down right now. Literally, there is a coded message in the DNA of every cell of your body, the very first layer. It's like the introduction layer that literally says, if you want to know who you are, your DNA tells you. It literally reads, God eternal within the body. God eternal within the body. And that message works in the root languages of cuneiform, Sanskrit, Arabic, and Hebrew. Those are 4 of the 6 root languages. And it's the same message in every one of those. So it's not specific to any religion. It has nothing to do with religion. These are cultures that we're talking about. So the DNA holds that message. The DNA, your DNA, is the antenna. It is literally a biological antenna that tunes you to places in the field where information resides. And I'm hesitating here because I don't want to get too deep in this video, but literally, we know there's a field. Scientists acknowledge that field. It was acknowledged in the year 2012 in the scientific community. We are that field because the field is emerging from every atom in our body as it emerges and collapses into the field. So it's not out there. We are the field. The field is energy. Energy is information. So there's an informational component of the field that we access through the DNA of our bodies. When you replace natural biology with synthetic materials, there is no DNA. You lose access to the very fundamental forces that give you the power and that allow you the most rare and precious experience of your humanness. And when you lose that power, you become vulnerable to other ideas of what the human experience should be, of what society should be. When we lose our humanness, we lose access to this information transfer that allows us deep states of intuition, supercognition, super memory, super learning, super immune response, super resilience to change, all of those human experiences. And the precious memories that we cherish in our lives, you lose all of that when you replace natural biology with synthetic technology. This is why I say our humanness is on the line, because there is a movement called the transhuman movement that's been around for a long time, but what's different, early in the 20th century. But what's different now is we now have the technology to implement the ideas, number one. Number two, we have the political organizations that are willing to embrace these ideas, backed by big corporations and big technology who stand to benefit from these. Your humanness and my humanness is on the line. Our species is on the line. And this is not something that's going to drag on, for 50 years. In one generation, the decisions are being made. Right now, the policies are being written and the laws are being proposed to embrace these transhumanist principles. And I got to tell you, man, I know it's happening. I'm still impressed at the slick marketing and the really sexy ads that are coming across. I see it on mainstream television. I see it in YouTube. Ads that make this stuff look really cool and really sexy. Like, who wouldn't want it, So I'm saying right now, the people out there that somehow are aligning me with the transhuman movement, you missed the mark, brothers and sisters, and I don't know how you did it. If you have taken the time to listen to me, to what I'm saying, and to follow the path of my work over the years, nothing could be further from the truth. And whoever it is that's writing these, I'm going to tell you right now, I love you, my brothers and sisters. I love the people of this world. I love our humanity and our humanness. I think it's worth preserving. I think we are a species worth preserving, and we're on the line right now. We're all in this together, and I don't think you're bad people that are saying these things. I think you're misinformed. And so I'm hoping to share this with you so that there's no doubt in your mind where I'm coming from and why I say the things I say. I am a scientist, and I'm not using a lot of New Age terminology. I think the New Age movement has misled a lot of this in certain respects. I've always said that. I've always said that the thinking underlying a lot of the New Thought movement, maybe well-intentioned in the beginning, it got hijacked and did not really empower us the way that I believe that the science, the real science, the true science, not the science that's been hijacked and cherry-picked, but the true science that gives us the deep truth of who we are, where we come from, and our relationship to the world. So that's what I'm going to say in this video, and I welcome your comments. You have any questions? I've got an awesome team that reads through, and I do as much as I can when I'm not traveling, all the comments. And if you got questions, state them specifically and succinctly so that I can respond to them. It's hard for me sometimes just to respond to a comment, but if you got a direct question, and I will do my best to get to it in the YouTube on this channel, a YouTube video. Also, this is my only channel where I am going to respond to this kind of information, because if I'm out there I have no control over the integrity of my message if it is on general YouTube. And that's why we stopped doing it. I had hundreds of pages out there. My message was being hijacked, sliced, and diced, used to support other people's work in ways and language that I would never use in a million years. So our legal teams have had most of that taken down. Want to see and you want to trust the information coming from me, this is my one and only YouTube channel. It's the only place you're going to see this. So thank you all for taking a few minutes just to hear this out and allowing me to clarify in my own words my relationship to the transhuman movement and what I think it means for us. And just like any technology, technology can never be good or bad. It's how it's applied. It's the thinking underlying it. So I'm hoping that we are awakening to the true potential of the human body and what we were given when we appeared 200,000 years ago, so that we feel less urgency to embrace this external technology and we see less of a need. And then the technology, those computer chips and the chemicals and the sensors, they're available to us when we need them, for those who really need those, but not to be implemented on a mass level for every human, that emerges onto the planet. So hope that makes sense. I love you all. Thank you again so much. I look forward to our next.